Tibbs, I'm going to say it into the hard camera. We love you, buddy. You've done a great job. But you're the Buck Showalter of the NBA. You love to get teams right to the cusps of winning a chip or getting there, and you just can't do it. The Joakim Noah, Chicago Bulls, the Timberwolves teams that you had, you can never get it done, and obviously they can't get it done right now. So do you think Tibbs is the right head coach for this team?
This corny, cheesy, cliche quote that I've been following for the last 3 years.
Oh, good, because those are all my quotes, cheesy and corny. So
these are all cheesy, corny, and it is Tom Thibodeau makes bad teams good. He does not make good teams great. That has been Tom Thibodeau's career in the NBA. And like you said, he gets them right to the tippy top, but then they crumble. Don't know why they crumble, but there's a consistency here with Tom Thibodeau. And if you just look back at the Warriors, I'm not saying the Knicks are going to go on to be a dynasty, but Mark Jackson, the Warriors had the foresight to know Mark Jackson was going to get them to this certain point. And then Steve Kerr was going to take over and cross that finish line. That new wave, new style of play that Kerr brought. I just think the Knicks need that kind of offensive mind for this specific talent on the team right now.
You know what? I think that's a great point, and I just thought about this to make a football reference. You know, at least Mike Tomlin's got some rings, but Tibbs is a consistent winner without getting anywhere, and you're exactly right. I think Tibbs is stuck in that old mold because whenever I see Tibbs, it was shocking to see the Knicks scoring 141 points in the beginning of the season this year when Tibbs, plays defense until he scores 88 points, and that's how he wins ball games. Did it with the Bulls, did it with the Timberwolves, did it in the first 2 years with the New York Knicks. Now, the thing is about them is, do they have the right team assembled? Because Tibbs could have been coaching the right thing, but they just weren't picking it up. So that comes to a chemistry problem, Mike. Now, I don't know if you heard, this is breaking news, and this is a report. The New York Knicks met right after they lost in upstate New York, and they had to talk specifically about team chemistry issues. Now, I know that you watched it carefully, and so do I. I saw Karl Anthony Towns and OG chirping at each other the whole playoffs. You're paying OG $41 million. One of them's got to go. And I'm sorry, I think it's Cat.
Yeah, I mean, these are the things that we get privy to sometimes now. If you remember sometime in the middle of the season, there were certain reports, Josh Hart came out post-game and was saying, some guys got to learn to sacrifice a little bit. Some guys got to do this and that. And a lot of it was directed possibly to OG Anunoby because he wasn't getting enough touches because of guys like Cat, because of Brunson. You have too many. You can't feed everybody. There's one ball on the court. And I get if OG Anunoby, who is a stout, excellent defender, I just don't see him meshing well with a guy like Cat, who's as dumb as rocks when it comes to defense, because a lot of the problems that they had on defense were because their two best players are their worst defensive players. But if it's one of the two, I think Anunoby is a glue piece for a championship team, and I think that's the guy you hang on to. Cat's money's a lot bigger. It could help in trades more. You could get a lot back with that. But I know I don't want to say one and done with Cat, but we're all not getting any younger, and the Knicks aren't getting any younger. This 3-year, 4-year window that they have, they got to strike on it. And if it takes dealing Cat to get it done, I'm not going to cry about it.
I'll give you a little factoid. Knicks are 25-1 when OG scores more than 22 points.
That's it. That says enough right there.
Proof's in the pudding right there. And then also, OG reminds me of a Luol Deng, and also with a high ceiling of a Scottie Pippen. Now, same frame as Scottie, plays defense like Scottie, and then when Jordan left, Scottie was stepped up his offensive game and was dropping 31 a night in Chicago. So the ability is there. You're exactly right. It's always that adage in basketball, there's only one ball. You can create these super teams and these triangle teams, but who's going to get the ball? I would rather much see Cat leave town and develop OG, because I think that we have a diamond in the rough. Not saying that he's not a good player, but the age, the size, the contract, the speed, the health is the only question. This guy has all the tools in his bag to be a number 2 player on an NBA team, like Brown stepped up for the Celtics.
Yeah, 100%. And you saw this year alone. I think Jalen Brunson went out and Anunoby picked it up when he was out for those last 13, 14 games.
Absolutely.
Anunoby, for the first time in his career, knock on wood, thankfully stayed healthy this year. We don't know. That's another problem. We don't know if we're getting that type of Anunoby moving forward. But I don't know how Cat's going to age. being what, 7 foot
I
285
can tell
coming
you
from a
right
big
now,
guy like me.
it's not going to be good. He runs like he has snowshoes on right now when he's trying to get down the basketball court. He's not going to age well. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No,
yeah,
you,
just from the looks of it, he either needs to lose 15 pounds or he's not going to age well. So now, what I saw during the playoffs was, first of all, I saw no cohesion. I never got in the pocket as a fan watching a game being comfortable. It was either they were down 20, up 20, they didn't show up, they showed up, they were the greatest team ever, they were shit. So there's no consistency to this team. Another big thing is if you're watching the playoffs in the New York Knicks, you're watching a team divided, and as Abraham Lincoln, a house divided cannot stand. That's the one class I stayed up for in history class. Jalen Brunson was running a squad out there by himself. Then Karl Anthony Town had his squad. There was a 1A, 1B going on. They started the first 4 minutes on the court. Does Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson not get on the same page and become, layup city? It's unbelievable.
and when they made this trade, and I was so excited for it because the first thing that popped into my head was, man, this pick and roll game is going to be deadly
Unbelievable.
with Brunson and Towns. And I watched every game, mostly 75 plus games all year. They didn't run pick and roll, but maybe because Cat can't set a pick cleanly without either sticking an elbow out or a
Yeah.
knee or committing a stupid foul. I thought this guy was going to have open 3 after open 20 all season, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah. And also the way, maybe that's another discussion for another day, but I always have to bring it up when it comes into my head is the fact that the regular season in the NBA has kind of been, it's not useless. Useless is too much of a word, but they're making in-season tournaments to bring some flair to the regular season. That's why I thought the Knicks were playing possum all season. And that was for my tinfoil hat segment, for my conspiracy sports segment, I was like, maybe they're playing possum. What does it really matter at the end of the day if you lose 11 games to the top seeds in the NBA? They still went to the Eastern Conference Finals. So why even play defense in the regular season? You're not going to play mad dog defense. That's why the NBA playoff is such a high quality caliber of sport. It's because these guys are going balls to the wall. So now when guys are going balls to the wall like that, that was the favorite part about the Nova Knicks last year, is the grit. Bring your lunch pail to work. What happened? It's like Rocky 3, Lose the eye of the tiger, man. You get soft. You get more skill guys. The bench was weak. So what would you rather see, Mike? Mike, you're a big Knick fan. What would you rather see? Would you rather see them build the bench out, or let's blow this mofo up like Nakatomi Plaza from Die Hard 1?
If I'm given the choice between the two, I would. Wow, this is so hard, but because if I'm given the choice between the two, and it's going to sound contradicting now, because I would rather add a few bench pieces to this current core than when you say blow it up, you're talking just trade
Okay.
Towns.
So, okay, let me refine my search here. Okay, let me go to the search tools. I went through free agency this week, trying to understand how free agency and cap room works in the NBA. You need to go to MIT. I got barbecue sauce on my SATs, so really not great, little static in the attic. But from what I actually got, they have no moves. Okay, they're mid-level exceptions, which are like $5.6 million plays, where a Sam Houston from the Celtics would be a good add to it, so you can build your bench like that. But as far as free agents come, nothing's happening, and then you would have to give up, it looks like, Bridges and Cat to alleviate either $46 million in cap space or get a big chunk, big piece guy for them. So it's either build the bench out or go for it. So that's what I kind of mean.
And if you're bringing Thibodeau back to this current team, this team lacks shooters, right? So if you're going to get the mid-level exception, it has to be a guy who can knock down a shot consistently. But here's another problem with bringing Thibodeau back and then adding bench pieces. Thibodeau doesn't play the bench. He's the one guy, like you said before, and it's a good point about the regular season. Tom Thibodeau is one of the few coaches left that coach the regular season like it matters now. Doesn't develop. These rookies are going to have their second rookie year next year because they barely developed this year. So they have no bench.
That's what the summer league's for. Don't you get it?
I got Kolek scoring 35 points for Westchester, and then he comes to the Knicks just to sit down and rot. I don't know. It's just I just don't agree with it.
Well, look, a prime example. And I'm sorry, Knick fans, I don't want to make you sick, but Kevin Knox. Have you happened to see what Kevin Knox has been doing in the G League for the last year? He got picked into the NBA. He was averaging 32 points a game. Kevin Knox. That Kevin Knox. So yes, they don't develop players. You're exactly right. Tibbs don't play his bench. And then during the postseason, now Indiana's running him into the ground. And all of a sudden, he's got to play his bench that he hasn't developed all season.
Couldn't believe it. And you want to make a change in the starting five, whatever, you're the coach, but that's not something you do midway through the Eastern Conference Finals. It just doesn't work.
You know, I made reference to this. It was like the New York Yankees in the World Series last year when they brought Oswaldo Cabrera in to play second base, and then boom, there was an error, and they lose that game of it. In the postseason, your warts, your problem get exasperated. They get put underneath a microscope, and they become huge. What was the Knicks' biggest problem this year? They didn't play their bench, they didn't defend the three, and they didn't play good defense. And boom, what came back to bite them in the ass? They didn't play their bench, didn't defend the three, and they didn't play good defense. But Karl-Anthony Towns, man, when I watch this guy, I'm like, how can we give him up? At the same, he's that good. He's just good enough where you don't want to get rid of a 7-foot. Because I even said it last season when everyone was pissed about DiVincenzo going off of this team. I was like, how many DiVincenzos are there on Earth, and how many Karl-Anthony Towns are there on Earth? Karl-Anthony Towns could take another fucking step in his game too. Like, that's the thing. But I say, get rid of Cat, get rid of the Bridges, because we just gave up all of our youth. The only pick that we have is a second-round pick, a conditional second-round pick from Memphis.
Yeah.
So I say, blow it up, go for the Greek Freak. Because everyone's saying build the bench up, but there ain't no building the bench up. We can't just go spending and build the bench up. This is actually what made this whole matrimony come together, me and you, Mike, is that you're like, people don't understand what the free, like, why don't we just go get LeBron James? It's because we're going to have to sell a small country to get LeBron James. Yeah, go ahead.
I was with a friend, and I just couldn't believe that I let the argument go on so long. He's like, the Knicks need a guy who could just come off the bench and score 17, 20 points. I said, yeah, of course. Yeah, let's get the guy. Where's the money coming from?
And I just need a supermodel to come over my house on Fridays and give me foot rubs. Yeah, we all need these things, but they're not going to happen. Yeah, exactly right. I don't know. So let's say it this way. Let's wrap it up this way. Going into this, it's going to be an unbelievable offseason. I know that for a fact. Greek Freak's going somewhere. Kevin Durant's going to go somewhere. Harden's a free agent. There is a lot of guys available. But in Leon Rose, we trust, okay? This guy is going to run some of his magic, some of his wizardry, whatever he does, and he's going to get the job done. I really believe in that. And because I attempted, like I told you, to look at the free agency market, and I can't even get a grasp on it until we know where the head coach falls, unless we know where we're keeping him. Because what do you think about like a guy like Malone from the Nuggets who has a chip and just out there? And a new coach, like you said.
It's just a new style of play. And a lot of people are saying, oh, is he bringing the Joker with him? I don't know who he's bringing with him. All I know is this is an offensive-minded guy, local guy, that could hopefully change the offensive sets that this team runs and possibly maximize what all of these guys are doing. And if that's the voice that it takes, that's the voice. And nobody's going to cry if the Knicks win 50 games again. Tom Thibodeau will be an afterthought.
He will be an afterthought as soon as they get rid of him, first of all, Tibbs. And second of all, I think that the Knicks are going to make that big move in the offseason. I don't think Leon Rose has any attachment to these dudes. I think what you see is reload. And now you're getting into a situation where we're trying to win a championship and we're on to improve every year. Now, the question is, in this postseason, would you have rather had a healthy Knicks team from last or this team this year?
It's so early. I'm still hurt from this year's team. But I truly think last year's team, fully healthy, would have beaten Indiana. I don't think it would have ever got to 7. And I really think they would have gave the Celtics a run for their money. I was posting it on my channel the entire time, and everybody just said, stop focusing on the negative. 70% of the Knicks playoff games this year, they fell down by 10-plus points. What other championship team is doing that?
What people need to understand, and this is the Carmelo Anthony Knicks fan, I'd like to address you solely, is that you pound your chest. And listen, I love Steve Novak. I had Linsanity at one point. I had it.
We all had that.
We all had it. But you don't remember Michael Jordan, ripping my soul out of my nose. I still get chills up and down my spine hearing the NBC theme song to basketball games, okay? I had Reggie Miller choking out. I had Reggie Miller choking everybody out. I had Alonzo Mourning on the Heat killing us and the refs stealing us a whole playoff series away from us. So all I know is pain and pain from the Knicks. I don't expect them to win. I expect them to win a championship. In fact, it falls in the category of my Jets. The Jets and my Knicks fandom are very similar in structure. They get good every 10 years, and everyone's like, they're going to the Super Bowl. They win the first game, and then we get ape shit, and then it's a dumpster fire. So
It's the truth.
it's the truth, and I'm here for it, and I'm never going anywhere. This is fun, man. And know what's crazy? It's like finally, you listen, you watch the regular season basketball more so than I did. I'm like that with baseball. I watch every single game, but with basketball, I'll catch the second half of the season and the important games. And as soon as it gets to playoff time, I'm invested. But now, when the season's over, I'm like, I'm baseball hungry. I want more basketball. I want more basketball. I want more. Now it's over. So it was a good season for the Knicks. I still think they improved this year. They were a better team.
Yes, technically they did advance 2 wins away from the finals, and I was on my page saying I thought the season was a failure because
Mike's
of the.
not buying it. Mike's not buying it. Mike's saying so you're saying, hold on, you're saying the full season's a failure.
The season, I mean, to me personally, I don't view it's a great accomplishment, and I'm a little more harder on the Knicks than a lot of my other teams.
As you should.
I don't know why, because they've been so bad. Out of the 3 teams, the Mets have been pretty crappy too, but like 50 wins in the NBA with the talent the Knicks currently have, it's not as hard as people think it is, because you're beating up on the bottom third of this league, and that's 15, 20 wins by itself. The Knicks didn't even win a game against one of those top tier teams and still won 50 games. So it says a lot about the league and the talent that's on the Knicks. But yes, they did get far. Maybe in a couple weeks I'll feel a little different. The wound is very fresh still, but
I think okay. So what I think it sums down to is, because you are correct, but what I think it comes down to is, did they take a step in the correct direction this year? And I think that answer is yes. Obviously, it's yes. They advanced further in the playoffs. It's kind of like me on a resume. You look better on paper. I'm better in person than I am on paper. But if you were to look at the Knicks on paper, they looked like they had a really good season. But then you start scratching under the surface a little bit, and you start going deep in, diving into those numbers. If you look at the Detroit Knicks series on paper, the Knicks shouldn't even won that series. So is the team good enough to hold on to? So for a team that can't even win a championship, who are we going to have loyalty? Because if we can make the team better and go get the Greek Freak, why not? And the Greek Freak has said he wants European players in every big market team in the NBA.
yeah,
So
and a lot of people,
we have
a lot of people.
Infinity Stone in LA. Now we need another Infinity Stone of the Greek Freak in New York.
I think if there's one guy that we have to give the leeway to, and it's Leon Rose. He's given us no reason to doubt anything that he's done. Everybody wanted the Bridges trade. Maybe like 90% of the people were good with the Cat trade.
I did.
I was in love with it. I loved it too. But, anything he does, I'm all for, because I believe in him that much until he proves us otherwise.
Well, listen, I'm going to be covering the Knicks in the offseason. Also, I'm going to be having Mike back for a Mets and Yankees show, because we can't just have Yankees all the time. I'm New York Minute. So we got to talk about our brothers in Queens with their stadium made of silly putty and Play-Doh. But it's okay. Not to mention, full disclosure, I like Citi Field. I went to a Metallica show there last year, and I still haven't left the parking lot, though. This is a mirage of me, okay? Because getting out of that parking lot, I would go to Citi Field all the time. That fucking parking lot.
The people that put on the yellow... I see these videos online where people bring the yellow vests and they pretend to be the parking agents and they point their car out. I have to start doing that, because the people that try to direct you out, they just don't do anything.
They don't care. They're getting paid by the hour. Listen, little rule for the viewer. Never take directions from a person that gets paid by the hour. And remember, you can catch us here, New York Minute. That's NEWYRKMIN on Instagram. Also, anywhere on that information superhighway that you call the internet. That's New York Minute Sports on YouTube, Spotify, X, Twitter, I want to call them. Okay? Mike, give yourself a plug. Where can the beautiful people find you?
Beautiful people. Pudgy Boys with a Z, Sports Talk. The Z was a last-minute decision I thought sounded cooler than it looked, but now I have to stick with it. Pudgy Boys, Sports Talk on all those platforms. Links are in my Instagram bio. And again, thank you for having me on. This was a lot of fun today.
Whenever I use a Z on anything, I go like Prison Mike from The Office.